Question: can the price of Bitcoin stabilize? A common complaint about Bitcoin is that the price is too volatile, fluctuating too frequently for it to be a practical unit of account. However, we haven't had a truly new form of money for many centuries, and it is quite possible that all currencies, unless mandated by governments to be worth a particular amount, were just as volatile as Bitcoin in their infancy until the market determined their value. Bitcoin is only 6 years old. That means Bitcoin's volatility could easily be a result of natural market fluctuations and therefore should be significantly reduced in time as more people use Bitcoin. Let's compare Bitcoin to a more stable currency, the US dollar, for example. US dollars are currently used by more than 1 billion people with $3 trillion in circulation. In contrast, less than 1 million people use Bitcoin so far, with approximately $4 billion worth in circulation. If the US dollar were a boat, it would be the largest vessel on the sea. Waves couldn't move it up and down, just as market forces don't usually move the dollar's value. Bitcoin, being about 0.1% as large as the US dollar is today, would be like a tiny jet ski. It moves up and down with every wave, similar to how the market can push its price up and down daily. That means the larger the Bitcoin user base grows, the more stable Bitcoin's price should be. The good news is that the number of people using Bitcoin has been growing steadily, and so have investments into the Bitcoin.
Half of 2013, for example, it went from about 1,700 Bitcoins per hour in transactions to 3,000 Bitcoins per hour in transactions. At the same time, the market value of all Bitcoins out there went from about $1 billion in July 2013 to about $12 billion in December 2013. So, of course, there's been a little bit of a drop in Bitcoin since December of 2013, but still important for people to understand how to treat this asset for tax purposes. Now, what the IRS is saying is that you'll be able to claim it as in the case that you bought it for much less than what it's worth now, which is pretty much the case for everyone who's bought it within or before about 6 months ago. You'll be able to treat it with capital gains tax rules. Now, that means that if you hold it for over a year, that the highest rate that'll be taxed on your Bitcoin holdings will be about 24%. If you hold it for less than a year, your highest rate will be about 44%. The interesting thing is you will also be able to take capital losses on that, which is key for people who bought Bitcoin near the end of 2013 as it ramped up to a peak of about $1,200. It's currently trading for less than $600, depending on where you look to try and do a Bitcoin transaction now. But it's very interesting stuff, and it also lays out the rules, which I've always wondered about for Bitcoin miners. Anyone who mines Bitcoin will have to pay taxes on the Bitcoin they mine at the value the moment they mine it as regular income. And then, of course, any growth in those assets will be taxed at capital gains.
But, Matt, again, not currency, but property.
As a property, not a currency, which is much better, really, for people who are trading in Bitcoin, because they'll be able to use the lower capital gains tax rate than they would have to do if they taxed it as regular income. So this doesn't, of course, mean that Bitcoin isn't a currency or that it is a currency. You know, I talked with the Undersecretary of Financial Intelligence for the U.S. Treasury last week, and he said, we don't consider the virtual currency a currency. Now, take from that what you will, but of course you can still use Bitcoin to buy milk and bacon, but they consider it an asset.